Ms. Carmen, Mrs. Carmen, can I ask a question? And Mayor, I'd like to ask a question before we get into this legislative agenda. And I'd like to bring up something that happened when we worked on our last legislative agenda. And it's about Senate Bill 145, which I and some of us worked on for 3 years. What is the status of that? We worked on it, it went through, and, it was for affordable housing. And has there been any movement with the city on it? What is going on there? Because we really worked really, really hard on that. And, when we work really, really hard and kind of put our necks out and use up a green stamps, we kind of want to know what's going on.
Ms. Newman, why don't you go ahead and talk about this one too while you're here?
Yes, sir. So this particular item, I made reference to it actually when we did our housing workshop back the end of February, that in connection with this one, the For Everyone Home policy documents that were adopted by Council June of last year, one of the action recommendations was the creation of a land bank. So at this time, we reached out to the University of North Carolina School of Government, their Development Finance Initiative, because they do actually have some expertise in helping other local governments in the creation of a land bank. And so this action is brought to you to fulfill the action item that you all approved June of last year and provide staff with the technical assistance to actually put together the mechanics of what a land bank could look like. That action that they do, the work that they do, will then come back to you for consideration and your action at a later date. But this provides some of the know-how that current staff does not have the capacity to do. So we reached out to this governmental entity that had expertise in this arena for assistance.
Any other questions?
Yes, I think you just answered. It's not that we're actually going to form a land bank, but it's to put together the information on what it would look like if we are the entity that has a land bank.
Correct. How the land bank would be structured, whether it should be within city government or outside of city government. If within city government, potentially recommendations on the department it might be housed in, how it might be staffed, and all of those kinds of things. So I believe that at the end of the day, we'll receive a series of options that the council can then choose from in terms of what makes the most sense for Winston-Salem.
And how does that connect to the discussions we've had on city-owned property being designated for affordable housing?
It could be the place where that city-owned property is held and then actually programmed. So depending, again, on how the land bank is structured, there could be recommendations on how we might dispose of the property, be it for development purposes or for sale purposes, but that would be a potential holding place for the existing city property as well as any other potential property we might acquire.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. McIntosh.
Having worked with the school of government several times in the past, as a lot of us have, I have a lot of respect for them. I'm really looking forward to this assessment. I think it'll provide us very good guidelines. I think the challenge will be that council stick to those guidelines and not ignore them after we've paid good money to have them brought to us.
Thank you. Can I get a motion on